Hello again and welcome to Spotlight, the interview show on RT. I'm Al Grinov, and today the guest on the show is Jim Rogers. The latest G8 meeting in Camp David was focused on saving Europe from its economic nightmares. In particular, the Big Eight discussed Greece and its severe debt crisis, trying to figure out how to save the Eurozone. The recession struck nearly 4 years ago, but the aftershock is still there. And it's unclear where the new economic capital will emerge when the economy finally starts to recover. So, are there any signs of light at the end of the tunnel? We'll discuss it with one of the insiders of the world financial elite, co-founder of the Quantum Fund, Jim Rogers.
Despite most countries are claiming to have recovered from the 2008 crisis, the world economy is unstable. In America, overspending and enormous public debt threaten a new recession. Europe struggles with the long-lasting Eurozone crisis that devours bailout money and sparks unrest. While the West is struggling, the focus of the world economy seems to be moving to the East. More and more economists agree that countries like China, India and Russia will soon become the trendsetters. And Mr. Jim Rogers is also one of those with a stake in Asia.
Hello, Mr. Rogers. Welcome to the show.
I am delighted to be here, Al.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Well, first of all, your book, Gift to My Children, it's subtitled like how to live and how to invest. So, how should we live? In what should we invest in the Eurozone? What would you suggest your children to do?
I am not investing in the Eurozone.
You're not investing.
No. I'm afraid that it's come to the stage where sometime in the next year or two, the politicians will think that the easy way is to leave the euro. It's not good for Greece, it's not good for anybody, but politicians always look for the easy way out. And in the end, they will leave, and then others will leave, and it's going to cause more turmoil. Be very careful about 2013 and 2014.
Do you think it's something similar to what happened to the ruble zone, to what happened to the post-Soviet states? They all thought, as soon as the politicians, as soon as they became independent, they thought that the easy way is to build a country on their own. And now they're trying to integrate, but it's very hard.
Right, they found out they were wrong.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing is going to happen if Greece leaves. Greece is going to have worthless currency again. The old drachmas are going to be printed, and it's going to be debt and recession, and no, it's not going to work at all. But politicians only worry about the next election. Right. They don't worry about 3 elections later. They worry about now.
Well, in this sense, the politicians that are in their second terms are better. They think about the future of humanity.
Yes. If they can only run one more time, or no more times, then yeah, of course, then they look ahead. But unfortunately, right now, what's happening in Greece is there is nobody in that state. The new guys are coming along and saying, we will save you, we will get out of the euro. And then somebody in Portugal is going to say it, and then somebody in another country is going to say it. So the euro is going to have a few shocks. The world's going to have a few shocks in the next 2 or 3 years.
Because Europe is important. Well, let's take a closer look at the situation in Greece with this report from Spotlight's Yelena Demidova.
Just 2 months ago, it seemed Greece was finally saved from financial disaster. The international community agreed a rescue package exceeding 130 billion euro, and the Fitch ratings agency upgraded Greece's credit rating to a B-, assigning it a stable outlook. But then politics stepped in. Greece's inability to form a government brought it to the verge of probably the biggest crisis it's faced so far. It made Greece the major topic of the G8 summit in Camp David.
Greece should remain in the Eurozone. At least that's what the G8 countries would like to happen. But it's not enough that these countries want it. The Greek people, the citizens, must want it as well.
And the Greek people seem to want to stick to the euro, at least judging by their reaction to an alleged Angela Merkel's suggestion that the country should hold a referendum on the euro.
We have to remain within the euro, because if we return to our old currency, we have no idea what will happen. We have no idea. It could be even worse. This is the thing.
While G8 leaders, together with the Greek people, might want to keep the euro, their will might not be enough. The majority of financial analysts are quite pessimistic these days, thinking that Greece will leave the eurozone.
It seems to me that the European Union right now is much better prepared for a possible Greek exit from the Eurozone. First of all, there is a psychological effect that the weakest link of the Eurozone will be out.
Experts in different countries are now evaluating the possible outcome of the worst-case scenario if Greece actually leaves the Eurozone.
Jim Rogers here with his comments. Well, Mr. Rogers, do you think that Russia should really care what happens with Greece?
Well, we all have to care, because what happens with Greece will have a snowball effect, and it will cause more turmoil in currency markets and financial markets and bond markets, and then we're all going to be affected. It doesn't matter that Greece is a small country with 10 million people. It's going to have many effects in the rest of the world, whether we like it or not. I don't particularly like it, but it's a fact.
Yeah, you also mentioned Portugal. You know, I've been to Portugal last summer, and I've realized that the prices went up. The country's in a crisis. The country needs money badly, but the prices for tourism go up. The hotels, the food, everything. And when I asked them why, they said, now listen, the fuel goes up, gasoline goes up, so the fishermen charge more, and so all the prices go up. Well, this is absurd. They instead of attracting tourists, who feed them, they like chase them away.
And the Greeks are doing the same thing. It's happening everywhere. No, that's, you and I understand basic economics. I hope we do. Some of these people don't.
Well, I'm sorry, but I think that fisherman we saw, he understands basic economics more than me and you. At least more than you, better than me.
He made a very good point. That, as I said before, if the drachma comes back, it's going to be a nightmare for the Greeks. The Greeks, for the past 200 years, have had basically nothing but debased currencies, inflation, recessions. It's been a terrible place for as an economy. And he knows what he's talking about. I wish the politicians did.
Okay, well, the debates are going on. Well, we get it all over Russian press, at least. What to do with the lying European economies? Germany is defending austerity measures, while the indebted economies on the continent, well, especially those on the south, they would like to ease budget discipline. Well, what is the better strategy? The German?
Eventually you run out of money. Eventually you run out of other people's money. The Greeks are out of other people's money now. Everybody who says, I want a free lunch. Listen, I want a free lunch too, Al, but somebody has to pay for it. And the world has decided we're not going to give them any more money. Maybe a few more days, a few more months or something. But the only solution is to start paying off the debt. So far, Al, if you look at every one of the countries with an austerity plan, the debt is going higher in every country despite austerity. That is going to lead to a collapse someday. We have to realize what's happened. We have to face reality, and we have to start cutting back. I don't particularly like it, but facts are facts. Otherwise we're going to have debt going higher and higher. There's going to be an eventual collapse, and then it's going to be a disaster for the whole world.
You should know the situation in the States, and you know better than me, better than most of the people. But when I look at what's going on in the States, I get a feeling that around a quarter of the American population gets their free lunch every day for their entire life. And when people look at that, first of all, they want their free lunch too.
Right.
And secondly, people say, where's the collapse you're talking about?
Well, it's going to come out. In America, only 50% of the people pay tax. That means 50% of people do not pay any taxes
This
at all.
is your free lunch.
Yeah, I would like to be one of those who doesn't pay any taxes. I would certainly like that too. But that America's now the largest